Hello guys and welcome back. So now we're done with projecting the detail here. We can do is disable the isolation by Control Shift and clicking. Whoops. Hopefully we still got everything. We turn off solo. Huh. It's doing something weird. Use my mouse maybe. Okay. Control Shift and click, right, to get everything back. All right. So we have those details on the face, but there appears to be too strong. We can now change this base skin slider here and change it to something like 0.7 to make it weaker. Now it's up to you to determine like how strong you want them to be. Okay. I kind of want is to still make them appears to be a bit stronger than they need to be. Okay. All right. So that's probably good enough. Okay, and at this stage you can do some trick also. You can smooth this layer, right, and you can then have like a duplicated layer. I think there's a duplicate layer, right? So you can smooth one, get another duplication, and then you smooth it again, so you can get like bigger variation, smaller variation kind of thing. We could try that, but I don't think that's a necessary step. But you know, let's take a look. So what we do here is we do like a smooth. That's gonna be in deformation, and then smooth here. We drag that up. Okay. Okay, drag that up again, and again. See what it does is smoothing out the detail, right? You can see they're smoother. Oh, before I do that though, kind of wanted to have a duplication. That's right. So let me go back, Control Z a few steps before I do those smoothing. Okay. Anyway, so again, let me get this. Yeah. So we have the layers, right? And let me get everything back again. Control Shift and click. We do a duplication, so we have like 2 layers. Okay. And let me turn this guy on. Right, and we go to the deformation, right? We smooth it and drag this up a few times. So we have a smooth base. Okay, so that can be considered as like bigger detail, right? You can see smooth result, it just feels a bit more natural, but it's universally blurry. What you can do now is you can go to the layers, and you can turn on the second one. The second one still have the bigger, the smaller detail, but you can just go ahead and change the intensity of that, like 0.2 or so. So you got a smoother detail overlaid on top, and you can tweak like how much smoother detail you want, smaller detail you want to have, and how much smoother detail you want to have. And you can tweak them all down. So this one can be 0.8. Okay, and you can maybe even make this guy a bit stronger now. So like 0.2. Okay, you can see how much flexibility you can have with this projection way. This layering way. But eventually, when you're happy with this, you can then let me wait for it to save. Okay. Because this is not enough, right? We have projected all the detail there, but the face is still quite smooth. It's just have an overlaid noise on it. Although there's skin detail and there's scan data, but still you could use some more work on some of the details, like maybe a wrinkle on the top. This character, this is my reference. You can see we have a lot of smaller things that should happen on the face, which we don't really have. And they should be considered actually more important than those smaller details we're having. Okay. The problem is if you create a new layer and start sculpting those things, and when you do smooth, you would actually smooth those guys also, and that's not ideal. So what we want to see is we're able to still have the detail we projected already, but we were able to do it in a non-destructive way. So we can sculpt those smaller wrinkles and details around the eye, the lip, and everything without destroying the projected detail. But with those projected detail there, it just feels much more natural when you're sculpting. Okay, so the strategy here is that we keep those layers, we don't touch them, we hide them, but we go use displacement map. We bake a displacement map and we use it as the preview. Okay, to do so, we need to go to the. It's probably going to work just with those layers on, but we'll have to see. Go to the plugin and multi-map exporter. We check on displacement. And in the export section options here in the displacement map, make sure that you have the mid value 0.5. And then the others should be fine. You can check on the 16-bit scale and you can get the scale. It's going to calculate how far away it will search, more like a skin cage thing. So it's going to determine the search distance. That way it's safer, right? And then everything else should be the default setting. You don't need 32-bit or anything. You don't need XR, just a Photoshop file should be fun. So again, mid value 0.5. And what we do is we go create our maps. Okay. And let me copy that directory and then save it. So now it's going to bake that as a displacement map. Okay, this should be fairly quick. Okay, when we're done with that, we can just safely disable the, let me turn on the rack. Disable the visibility of those two layers so we don't have those details anymore. But now what we do is we just have them back in the displacement map section. Okay, so what you do is you go to the, actually you need a texture map here first. Before we do that, we probably need to also flip the V direction of the UV, which is quite painful for ZBrush because it has a flipped UV for some reason. I think that's very easy to just change it. I don't know why they keep having that flipped UV. Anyway, so we're gonna go to the texture map and then new from polypaint to give it a texture map. That's mandatory for this to work. And then you go to displacement map and grab that little big square and then import. And you grab that displacement map, we export it. Okay, cool. And then we can change the intensity to 1. And you can see now we're getting that displacement map. It appears to be a little bit too strong, so I'm just going to change that to 0.5 to get the proper intensity. The good thing about this is that we're just previewing like a bump map on the surface of the model, which guarantees that whatever we do, we're just having a bump map on it. It's not going to be smoothed out or anything. It's just going to be there. Okay, cool. It may not have the same quality we were having earlier. And the body is actually doubled because the body already have those details. Anyway, so now we have a displacement map and we don't have those layers visible, so they're guaranteed to be intact. And then we can create a new layer and we can then name this guy sculpt. And we can start sculpting our detail. Okay, so let's move on to the sculpting in the next video. Okay, see you next time.